Margaret Coman is the reason we're here. And Margaret Coman, when she started working here in 1940 as a caseworker, she started very humbly, doing whatever she was told to do. Got some activity in there, that's good. Got kids working it, that's good. She was promoted to supervisor 5 years later and became acting superintendent in 1946. She served the people of Buncombe County for 43 years. Let me say that again. 43 years, Margaret Coman looked after people in Buncombe County that needed help and needed assistance from the county. She treated everybody with respect, and one of her dreams was that we could get the health department functions and the social services all in one place so people didn't have to go all over town looking for what they needed. Margaret Coman was about service. She wanted to make sure everybody was treated with dignity, respect, and courtesy, and she did that. She gave us another gift, and that's Jim Coman. Jim Coman, he only made it 31 years. So we have 74 years that the Comans have helped, served, and been public servants for all of us, and we appreciate that. Over 100 years for the Comans. Let's give them a hand. One of the things we've done here is we have one of the most integrated health and human services departments in the country now. You walk in here, you're going to get immediate service from our fine staff, and whatever problem you have is pretty much going to be handled right on the spot. We're not going to send you down the road. We're not going to say, we'll think about it. We're not going to say, yeah, we'll get to that later. We've got to go through a couple more layers of red tape. It's the dream Calvin Underwood had as DSS in between Mandy and Miss Coman. It's something that we've all wanted to happen, and we're moving the right way. But today, we're specifically here to talk about the lady that had the vision for this and wanted it to happen. The bottom line for Margaret Coman was better, faster, more complete service. And I think we're getting there. And equally important is we're going to reach back and honor her today. And it's my pleasure to introduce our next speaker, Commissioner Carol Peterson, who has some personal observations and some personal contact with our honoree. Commissioner Peterson?
Thank you, Chairman. It's a pleasure for me to be here, and as the chairman has said, I come with a little bit of personal history of Margaret Coman, in that she was a definite part of my childhood. She and my mother worked together. I've shared this with several of you. She and my mother worked together in the welfare department. It was back in the day when the girls first started working. And this was all on one floor in the courthouse, and they did great, great work. And Margaret was such an icon then and continued through her whole career as the director, as a caseworker and the director. She had accolades from national, state, and local associations. I remember Margaret personally for many things that she did throughout our county. I think it's always so good when you have a hometown girl who makes good. When you have someone who was raised and lived in Candler and did such great work for the people that she knew so well. Her roots ran deep in Buncombe County. She always remembered that the citizens of Buncombe County should be our first and major concern. And I want you to know that personally I observed that from Margaret every day that she worked in that department. The people of Buncombe County were her major concerns. Back in the day, those ladies, the people who worked in the welfare department, worked 5.5 days a week. I remember them going to work on Saturday morning in their county-issued cars out checking with the people in the coves and the hollows. And the stories that they would come home and tell us And I'm going to say us because I know Jim remembers some of these stories too. It made you remember what a difference county government and good county work, which we continue to do today, has meant through these decades. I remember a couple of things about Margaret. First of all, I remember she had the biggest feet I ever saw. I cannot tell you. She did. As a child, I thought, I have never seen a lady with bigger feet. And I know as Calvin came along and Mandy Stone after Calvin, how they wondered how they would ever be able to fill the shoes of those big number 11 and a half, about 11 and a half size shoes, that they would ever be able to fill those shoes. 14? Well, Jim's got 14, so I guess he went beyond that. I also remember being so pleased when we opened this building here that the motto here is, "You matter to me." And I'm thinking that Margaret's looking down right now saying, I couldn't have chose a better motto for the citizens of Buncombe County who come to be served here in this combined Health and Human Services building than for every citizen to know that you matter to me. I'm sure that's just exactly what she's thinking about today. And so I'm so pleased to be a part of this great recognition of a great friend of our families and a great friend of Buncombe County and someone who came into Buncombe County and left Buncombe County knowing that Buncombe County was a better place because Margaret Coman lived there and worked there and loved every citizen she came in contact with. You got to know that. I'm telling you that that's what that lady meant. There's a plaque here. I'm not going to read it to you, first of all, because I forgot my glasses. But it's from the North Carolina Association. Don't look for any glasses. The North Carolina Association of Directors of Social Services, and it's in May 10th of this year, they have awarded to Margaret Hall Coman the 2012 Lifetime Achievement Award, and there's not a lady who deserves it more than my friend and your friend, Margaret Coman.
Well, I know my mother would have been very proud of this honor. I was telling Carol just a little while ago that she died exactly 11 years ago today. But she would have been very, very proud of this, and as our family, myself, my wife Jenny, and our daughter Sarah are very, very proud to accept this honor, and we thank you very much.
Okay, it's our pleasure to uncover the plaque. All right. This building is dedicated in memory of Margaret Hall Coman, Director of Social Services, 1961 to 1983, who dedicated 43 years to the wellness and health of our families and individuals in our community. Jim, we're mighty proud to dedicate this building, and long overdue. We're glad to do it. Thank you.
Chairman.